Well, hello and welcome to yet another video on Draw with Artma. This is Venkatesh, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can create this artwork of Sonic the Hedgehog. From start to finish without any edits, you will be able to see the entire process. Make sure you have your device set up and ready and follow along for you to get the exact same result as what I show you. Do not hesitate to pause, rewind, watch it back again. And if you enjoy this kind of videos, make sure that you hit the like button and comment below what else do you want me to see create. It really encourages me to make more content for you like this. With that said, let's jump right into the video. So let us begin. I have a new layer here. I'm going to take a grayish kind of a shade and go and select a sketching pencil here. Alright, I'm picking a pencil. I'm going to use the pencil to start sketching. Now the basic approach remains the same. We are going to start with the big shapes, go down to the medium shapes and then to the smaller shape, and then we will go ahead and color the thing. Alright, so let me first go ahead and start making a shape something like this. This is going to be the shape of the face of the character that we are trying to create here. Yeah, this is the shape of the face of the character. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some shape for the hair. If you know what Sonic the Hedgehog looks like, then you know that there is some shapes like this which make up the hair. Yeah, the broad shapes. I'm only making a very broad, loose kind of a sketch. None of this is absolutely final. We can keep making changes as we go along. Adding another shape on the other side, right? And the mouth of this particular character is going to be somewhere around there. I'm going to go ahead and add a shape, something like this. I hope you guys are able to see this. You make it bigger. I'm pinching to zoom in. This is the mouth area, this happens to be the head, and the eyes are going to be somewhere in this region. So make these shapes along with me. I'm making very loose lines. If you notice, I am not being very clean with my lines, so that's a thing that I keep talking about. You have to keep your hand moving very freely. You can move this thing around, so there is a move tool in most of the applications that you have. You can move it around to place it where you want. You don't need to erase and draw again. I noticed that the top of the head maybe is become too small. Let me go ahead and make it slightly bigger. Do not worry about making proper clean shapes. Like I said, keep making changes, keep tweaking it around to see wherever it fits well, wherever it looks like it is coming together properly. Now beyond this, there is going to be the shape for the body. We're going to give it a small body. Yeah, of course I'm using a reference so I know what I'm doing here. But I'm trying to break it down for you to understand what exactly is happening as I proceed to making this entire piece. Now coming to the legs, just a simple shape for the leg first, yeah, and the other shape which is the leg behind. I'm just making these lines which are indicating the direction in which things are moving, alright? Not necessarily making the entire shape, but just the direction. So first, if I get the direction right, after that I can go ahead and add the shape or the form on top of it. So let me get the shapes or the direction first, and then I can go ahead and add whatever is needed on top. I'm going to go ahead and add another shape like this is the front of the belly, and then this becomes the back of the belly or the back, so to say. Yeah, and here the leg, the direction that I made, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and try and bring out the shape for the leg. I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's about having fun. I mean, this is obviously a simple kind of an illustration, but when you are in the process of creating it, it can get a lot of fun. I mean, I personally enjoy creating simple illustrations which are fun to draw, just to unwind, just to have that time where I'm just having fun with the process of creating it, having it come alive and become something right in front of my eyes. That's something. The process is something, and now that I'm capturing this for you, you will also be able to go ahead and do the same thing and enjoy the process of creation. That is what it's about, right? Art is about loving the process, enjoying what you are doing. Yeah, so this basically is the socks of the shoes. Basically, socks are the part where the leg kind of fits into the shoe. And for the shoe, what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and make a big shape again. Now this big shape, I'm not making it very clean. I'm just making a rough shape here. It's a running pose. Sonic the Hedgehog, if you know, it's a very fast running kind of a character. So it's in a running pose right now. And I can always again move it to fit wherever I need it. Now we are also going to go ahead and add the hands, the shape that I made, or the direction, the line that I made. I'm going to go ahead and make another 2 lines around it so that I add the thickness to it. This happens to be the spot where I will add the hands. Now for hands, I'm again making broad shapes. Again, I'm emphasizing on this thing again and again. I am not being very clean. Also, I am not going into the fine aspects of how to draw it. Rather, I am doing very loose sketch, right? It only is to indicate where we want things. Only once we are happy with where these rough shapes are, will we go ahead and finalize all of these shapes and make them complete, so to say. Yeah. With all the details necessary. What happens when you start adding details in the beginning? If you have to make changes, you will be cursing yourself because you would have worked so much in those fine details. You will go ahead and erase and again do the details. So why do that? Rather, do it in a simple fashion so that you know where you are placing these different things. In case you need to make changes, do it at this stage and move forward from there, and then continue on going further into the details so you become much faster. This is a faster way to work. It might appear like the things are kind of rough and raw, but in reality, this is a much faster method to work. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add a few finer details. Now we have the big shapes in place. I'm going to go ahead and add some finer details. Something, for instance, like the mouth. Where should the mouth be now? If you notice that the shape of the face and the shape of the body are kind of overlapping, that's completely fine, because we know that there is a shape for the body somewhere there, but the mouth on the face area is kind of covering it from the top. It's okay, we can leave it like that and we can continue with whatever details we are adding, only with those lines which are relevant for us in mind. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and add 2 marks for where I think the eyes should be. Again, not being very clean or precise with them, adding some rough marks so that in case I need, I can go back and make changes. Yeah. Whereas the nose fit now, the nose will come somewhere here. I'm going to go ahead and make the nose something like this. Now let us add the finer details onto the body of this character. First, let's go towards the hands. There is gloves on top of the wrist, right? Or the entire hand, so to say. So I'm going to make a shape like this and kind of refine the shape. Feel free to rotate the canvas in any direction that you want and add those details. It's okay for you to rotate it. It's okay for you to work in the direction that you feel comfortable in, right? This is one of the gloves. Yeah. I'm going to make the hand slightly more thicker, and this is the space, or this is the time in which I am actually going ahead trying to find those lines that are going to make the final design, right? Not the rough sketch, but rather a little bit more refined kind of a sketch where I'm trying to exactly find what are the things that I need as part of the design, so to say. Yeah. Let me go ahead and add more details to the leg, or make the lines a little bit more thick. For the shoes again, let me add some more detail on top, which happens to be the pattern on the shoe. I've added that as well. On the other side too, let me go ahead and do that. Now the bottom of the shoe also has a sole, right? Now that sole also needs some amount of thickness, so I've added that. The same on the other side. I'm going to make it slightly more refined, slightly more cleaner. Now let me go ahead, add more detail in the eyes. There is a darker area in the center, on the other side as well. I hope you're seeing that it's kind of coming together. Maybe select this entire thing and increase the size a little bit. Same with the other eye probably, or maybe now it's looking fine by now. Yeah. changing the shape of the eyes, making it a little bit more crisp, the way I would ultimately want it to be. I think now we are more or less there with the overall sketch or the rough sketch. A few fine details remaining. One is the tail and a little bit of feather kind of a detail on the body. Here we are. So we have the rough sketch in place. One final thing that is remaining in this is the ear of the character. So I'm going to erase this area where there is unnecessary lines, and this is roughly where the ear is going to be. So let me go ahead and make that shape for the ear. Without the ear, the character is going to look unfinished. So here is the shape for the ear, and you can probably notice now it looks more complete. Yeah, I think that is the missing element. Fine, let me go ahead and now start adding line work to this sketch that we have, so that we can go ahead and start continuing with our coloring process. Yeah, let me make another layer on top. I have created another layer. Now on this layer, I'm going to use an inking brush, which is Studio Pen. You can set the color to absolutely black and go back and reduce the opacity of the previous layer that we have. And now on this layer, we are going to go ahead and start making the inking. So this is a part of the process that I really like because it is very meditative. I kind of enjoy doing this because you already have the guidelines in place. You just have to be sure that you are hitting the right marks. You can be going into your zone and doing it. I'm going to be doing it, and I will add any comments while the process is on. All right. Procreate has this beautiful feature that the line kind of corrects itself while you do it. And another thing that I really like about Procreate is that if you tap with 2 fingers, it takes you 1 step back, and that's kind of very handy when you are making this kind of work and you want to quickly make changes, so you don't have to go look for the undo button. You can just simply tap with 2 fingers, go back and continue from there. I am kind of varying the thickness of the line. If you notice in different areas, I'm changing the pressure that I'm applying depending on which the line weight is kind of changing. That gives it a nice look. It is completely subjective. You can have uniform thickness lines as well. That's a different way of doing it. If you want, you can change the thickness of the lines, and that makes it a little bit unique as per your own style and taste, so to say. Do not hesitate from making changes. I am constantly undoing and doing things again so that I get the right kind of a look at the end of it. Let me go ahead and add this top of the eye part, which is sort of the eyebrow without the hair. Yeah, and the region of the eyes needs some more detail, so let me go ahead and add the edges of the eye. I'm going to be a little careful and go ahead and do this. While I do this, I would love to know from you guys, what is it that you guys would want to see me create? What kind of characters should we do? What kind of tutorials do you want to see on the channel? It would be amazing if you guys leave your thoughts in the comments so that I know what is it that you expect, so that I can bring such things for you, and you can learn as much as you can from me. I know it's been a while that I have taken a break and I am coming back to YouTube with all these tutorial content for you guys. And so it's been a while. I now want to know from you. If you tell me what is it that you want to see, I will try and create the kind of tutorials that you want. I'm going to be experimenting with different kind of content. There is going to be content related to learning art and things that can help artists. other things as well. So I hope you will join me on the ride. This is going to be a slightly different approach to what I have been doing on the channel, and we will explore more than just about doing art tutorials. I hope you guys are up for it. If you are up for it, type up for it in the comment section. I would love to see if you are paying attention to everything that I'm talking here on the video or not. Remember that I read comments, okay? I do read comments. I may or may not reply to all of the comments, but I read them, and it definitely makes a difference when I hear your opinion, your thoughts. Of course, I would want to hear good things. If you have good things to say, please go ahead. If you have something that you would want me to improve upon, go ahead and leave those thoughts as well, so I know what is it that I can do better. So if you notice, I'm going ahead and adding these details on the characters, outline. This basically becomes the foundation on which we are going to be filling in color. So remember to do it as cleanly as you can. It will be very, very crucial that you close all the loops. So one of the things that you are noticing probably is that I am going ahead and trying to close the loops as much as I can. Meaning, if there is a shape that I have made, I am trying to make it close completely, so that when I'm filling in color, it is going to become very swift process. Otherwise, I will have to again make sure that I'm not going out of the edges, etc., etc. In traditional art, you typically have to make sure that you're painting inside the lines, but digital kind of takes care of that for you, and I'm going to show you how that is going to happen. I have talked about it before, but I'm going to again show you the process of how you can make sure that the color is within those boundaries, not going outside of it. I am trying to change direction on the canvas to make the lines the way I feel would be most convenient. So make sure that you use this approach. Do not get stuck with only doing lines in one direction. If the need arises, you can always go ahead and change the direction in which the canvas is for you to be able to make the line in the most comfortable manner. I think we don't necessarily need a shape right here, so let me go ahead and erase this. I don't need this. Again, the legs. In the previous video, I noticed that my strokes on the device were getting captured by the mic. I don't know if it's happening now also. Here we are. The sketch is more or less complete now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, hide the layer underneath it, so that we get a clearer view of whatever is on our canvas. Okay, in case there is a need to tweak anything, this is a good time for you to go ahead and make any changes. For instance, if you think some lines need some cleanup, see for instance I'm seeing some areas which are not very clean, I'm going to take a little while to go ahead and clean everything up. Alright, let's go ahead and start adding the details, or with color, let's go ahead and start finishing this piece. I'm going to first set this layer to reference, and below that I'm going to create a new layer. Now the thing for us to do, this part is kind of exciting. I'm going to go ahead and pick a color which is in this blue range, okay, something like this. If you can see on the color wheel where I am, not in the light blue, not in the purple, but somewhere in the navy blue kind of a zone. And now I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the color, and this is where I was saying that it's important for you to have your loops closed. See, everywhere the loop is closed, the color completely gets filled. Yeah, let me go ahead and show you that on the body as well. You can see that it gets filled instantly. This is super satisfying. If you see, it feels so fun to be able to do this simply by dragging and leaving the color there. The coloring process is almost all done, right? Now let me go ahead and add a little bit more color in the mouth area. For instance, this is the color that I'm choosing. It is almost close to the skin color that we have. It's not red, it's not yellow, somewhere in the middle, kind of bright. You go ahead and leave that there. Maybe make it slightly more brighter. Maybe it's becomes a little bit more dark. Yeah, now we have it. Let me go ahead and do that with the body as well. Let me go ahead and do that with the ears. You see, this process is so fast, so super slick. I mean, you will be able to do this in no time, and there is very little margin for error. So the work that you have done creating the sketch will take care of all the other, nitty-gritties of making sure that the piece kind of looks nice. Yeah, if you see now, it's almost coming together. Let me go ahead and add like a dark colored nose as well. I'm going to add a few more things. Before that, just have a look at the colors that I'm picking and going ahead and filling it inside different shapes that we have already created very carefully, one step at a time. We have built it, and now we can have fun with it, right? That's the entire idea. Like, when you do this kind of really makes you feel that dopamine rush that you get, like when you're playing a game. When you hit that certain hurdle, or not hurdle, basically if you win a point or something, that's the kind of feeling it gives you when you actually are able to do this filling up of shapes and everything, and it kind of comes together. It's nice. It's a good feeling to have when you are creating something. I particularly enjoy this a lot. Now let me go ahead and create a new layer on top and try and clip this to the layer below. We have done this before, but I'm going to again explain to you what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to now start creating shadows on this particular character. Let me go ahead and take a color which is probably in the blue zone. Yeah, something like this, a blue and gray. Right? Not completely blue in the blue saturated area, but in the grayish area. I'm going to go ahead and pick this, and I will show you what I'm trying to do. All right. Maybe not clip it at this point. There is a small technicality here. That is why I'm not clipping it. But let me explain what I'm trying to do here. I have a new layer, and this layer I'm going to set it to a blend mode called multiply. Okay. You will have multiply in all of the applications that you use. Set it to multiply, and now I'm going to go ahead and start adding the shadow. How am I going to do that? I'm going to use the same Studio Ink pen and go ahead and start painting in the areas that I think should have the shadow. Now, while you notice the color that I have chosen is gray, the color that is coming here is a little bit darker zone, darker kind of a blue. Why is that happening? Because it is the color that I'm applying on this layer that is getting multiplied with the layer underneath it. So what we have underneath is blue, and a darkish gray being multiplied by that is giving us this kind of a dark blue color. I hope that's making sense for you. Let me make this shape even bigger. I'm trying to get it to be as clean as possible towards the edge. And what is the beauty of it? In case you mess up at this stage, you do not have to worry about the base color. The base color is on a separate layer. The shadow is on a separate layer. If you want to make changes, you will always be able to go ahead and make those changes. So don't worry about that. Yeah, that's the beauty of doing it in this fashion rather than doing it on one layer. I'm doing it on a separate layer. Only the shadow is what I am working with right now. I can go ahead and remove it, make changes, even make changes to the color. All of those things are possible. I'm going to go ahead and add the shadow in this part as well. This is super fun. I must say, this is absolute, this is so amazingly fun to do that I could be doing this all day and not get tired. So there is different phases in a piece that you are creating as well. If you have created art yourself, there are phases that are difficult to do, there are phases that are fun to do, there are phases where you are genuinely having fun with the piece. All of that is what makes the process interesting, and I go through that initial hurdles of trying to get the form to look right, shape to look right, and all of that kind of culminates into the stage where you actually end up creating something, and through the process you are enjoying it, through the process you are having fun. That's the only word that comes to my mind. I mean, all this is about having fun, right? Ultimately, we are all trying to have fun, and if this is something that you really enjoy, then go ahead, do it as much as you can. The thing that I hear from many people is that you want to make art, you enjoy creating art, but not doing it at all. Why would you not do it if you enjoy it so much? Let me go ahead and show you what I'm trying to do with the body as well. Now, even with the skin color that we have here, I'm going to go ahead and do the same kind of shadow under the chin area. Okay, let me go ahead and show you the same process that I did. I'm doing it again under the chin. Yeah, you can see that also is giving it some kind of a shadow. You might as well want to try out changing the color of the shadow. I mean, this is open to your choice sometimes. If you want to kind of make a different colored shadow suiting whatever the skin is, you want to go slightly redder, you can do that. You want to go slightly more pinkish, you can do that as well. Let me do that then. Let me go ahead and try and use a different color this time. Something like this, which probably will make the shadow look a little bit more rich. Why am I doing that? You will see what I mean. The skin is kind of yellow, and the shadow that will be cast on the body itself, like the shadow that the body will cast on itself, will be slightly in the darker zone of that same warm color, right? So I'm using a warm shade here to add the shadow instead of the blue that we used earlier. I mean, this is up to experimentation. If you would want to go ahead and do a blue shadow, that's completely fine. But if you want to do slightly warm shadow, that can also make it look very interesting. If you see here, probably some of you are preferring this, some of you probably preferred whatever was happening before. I'm going to add that shadow under the mouth somewhere here as well. Yeah. And under the nose as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that because there is going to be a shadow that's going to be cast by the nose. Yeah, there is very little areas where there is going to be this shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here as well. Try to match both of these shadows so that they look like there is this entire continuity of shadow that is happening. Remember, this shadow and this shadow supposed to be together, right? Let me try and erase whatever I do not need, or maybe go one clean swipe across so that I can erase it and it can look clean. Yeah. We are almost reaching the end of the process of creation of this character. Let me go ahead and add a few final details before I call it done. The same blue that we were using earlier, we could always go back and pick that same color again, and I'm going to go ahead and add those shadows in the different areas where I think it should be. Now the hands, they need the shadows, so I'm going to go ahead and add those shadows here. Rather than making it gray, it's a good idea to have some sort of a tint to your shadows that can make it look a lot more lively in comparison to making it only gray. And there is an interesting technique or trick that can make the shadows suit the character or suit the design better, and I'm going to show you that in a while. Let me go ahead and first apply wherever I need this. Inside of the shoes. Now what I'm showing you here is the approach to doing things. It is not necessary that you do the exact same character that I am doing. Once you learn how to do this, you can go ahead and apply this to other things as well. Not necessarily only a Sonic character. What you are seeing here is the approach, the process. I would highly encourage you to go ahead and try this out in a different character. Pick up a different character, try to break it down into different shapes and forms. See what approach or process really appeals to you. You can come up with your own process. You can see this, you can probably improvise. Sometimes by experimenting and coming up with a slightly different approach can give you even better results. Like, do not restrict yourself to doing exactly what I am trying to tell you. Obviously, it is for you to learn, but then go ahead and experiment, go ahead and try out different things so that what you create is also going to be different from what I am demonstrating. Same shadow at the back of the shoe as well. Now, some of these areas, it might be appearing that the shadow is getting too dark. I will show you what you can do about that as well. Do not worry. Now I'm going to go ahead, create a new layer on top of everything and set it to screen. Okay. What am I going to do now? I'm going to go ahead and try and create a highlight in the layers, right above it. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to do that on this layer using the Studio Pen, and I'll go ahead and start making lines, something like this, right at the edge. The beauty of this is that you do not have to worry about the base getting spoiled, because it is on a separate layer. Whatever you are creating is on a separate layer, and you can erase whatever you want to correct without having to worry about the base getting spoiled. Yeah, so that is basically the highlights on the body. I think the ear also needs it. I missed that part. Yeah, now let me go ahead and do some highlighting on the skin part as well. So if I pick the color from here, go ahead and use a brighter, more orangish shade and try and do this, a similar thing on this area. Now if you see, I'm able to add this highlight, slightly warmer, slightly more orange. Yeah, I have been able to see how it is kind of adding a little bit more depth to whatever we have created so far. I'm also going to do a small highlight on the shoes. Let me go ahead and pick the color, make the color slightly warmer, and go ahead and do that. Please do not hesitate from pausing the video anytime you want, rewinding, watching it again, making any changes. So it is all on you. I am not taking away too much of the process, any speed cuts or anything, so you can pause it, watch it at your own pace. Right now that we are almost nearly done with this, let me go ahead and create another layer on top of even the sketch that we have, the initial sketch that we had made. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use absolutely white color, and in some areas I'm going to add some highlights, which is going to make the thing look a little attractive. Now this is the twinkle in the eye of the character. Yeah, I hope you're able to see how the shine has slightly made the eyes look like they're glossy. Same with the nose as well. I'm going to go ahead and add a shiny spot for the nose as well. Alright, I hope you're able to see that this is more or less coming to completion. I'm going to add slight shine for the shoes like this. You can go ahead and add more details. You can, once you understand the technique behind these things, you can go ahead and experiment and try out different other, variations of whatever I have done. Let me go ahead and add some amount of shadow to the eyes. I went specifically to the shadow layer which is set to multiply. Go ahead and pick a color which is say greenish blue and try and add that darker part of the eye which can make it look interesting. Yeah, same on the other side. There we have it. So I wanted to show you the entire process from start to finish so you can create something like this watching this, or you can go ahead and try out something else in a similar style as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in another one. Until then, take care, have a good day. Like I always say, stay strong and keep creating. Bye bye.